The year is 2030. Imagine yourself as a leader of a superpower. You have the ships, the soldiers, and the political might. You have just given the order to erase the intellectual history of the world. Other scholars do not worry you. Let's imagine, for the sake of this experiment, that all other arguments have curiously vanished. Poof, they are all gone. All that remains is logic, faith, and the mystery of humanity. Do you think this will be a walk in the park? Do you think you will raise your flag at the summit of truth within a month? My friend, you are about to enter the most massive logistics meat grinder in human history. Because Al-Ghazali is not just a philosopher, he is an unshakable wall, geographically engineered and designed by God to annihilate modern invaders. Part 1. The disappearance of the intellectual throne. Imagine, the year is 1091. You are at one of the most troubled breaking points in human history. Baghdad is not just the capital of a city, it is a single point where the financial strength of modern New York, the intellectual weight of Oxford, and the political maneuvers of Washington, D.C. converge. And you are the name at the very peak of this great pyramid, Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. You are 33 years old. In an age where life expectancy is not long, you have already conquered the world of ideas. You are hailed as the son of the Seljuk Empire. The most competent man in the administration, Grand Vizier Nizam al-Mulk, regards you as his closest confidant. As the head of the Nizamiya Madrasa, you sit on the golden throne of knowledge. Before you, hundreds of the world's most brilliant students hold their breath, eager to record every single word that drops from your lips. Your title is Hujjat al-Islam, the proof of Islam. You are the commander-in-chief of an intellectual superpower. You possess fame, wealth, and absolute authority. But then, something different happens. You wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and ask yourself a question as corrosive as spirit of salt. What if everything I am telling is a lie? What if I am not a seeker of truth, but merely an extra in a grand theater of vanity? Today, we enter the mental labyrinth of a man who is one of the greatest names in history. We observe how a genius on the brink of losing his mind set fire to his own world to find a single spark of truth. Fasten your seatbelts. We are beginning the greatest mental turmoil of the Middle Ages. Part 2. Baghdad, the intellectual zone. To understand why Ghazali broke, we must know and understand the geography of 11th century Baghdad. Just as modern military analysts speak of logistical bottlenecks, the modern world of Baghdad was a dangerous region. It was a critical zone where four great enemy armies fought for the soul of humanity. Philosophers, the Peripatetics, clad in the logical robes of Aristotle and Plato, they believed reason was a sole sovereign. Batinis, the ideological stance of the assassins, they claimed that truth was hidden and could only be governed by a secret imam. Theologians, Kalam, defenders who used logic as a shield but often forgot the heart. Sufis, the group claiming that truth cannot be taught but only tasted through experience. Ghazali did not just look at these groups, he scrutinized them. His strategy was ordinary but exhausting. To destroy a system, you must know it better than the one who created it. He spent months on Greek philosophy until he specialized enough to defeat the most massive Aristotelians of his time. However, the more conflicting truths he possessed, the more his internal logistical lines began to vanish. He was winning every debate on the outside, but surrendering the war on the inside. Part 3. The Doubt Virus. The System. Collapse. Doubt is like a virus. It doesn't strike the walls, it attacks the code. For Ghazali, The virus began with the most basic biological sensors, the eyes and the ears. He observed the stars. His eyes whispered to him that they were the size of a gold coin, but his mathematics made him feel they were larger than the earth. If my senses are lying to me about the physical world, he thought, how can I trust them in the metaphysical world? He turned to reason, but reason offered no sanctuary, no home. 900 years before Hollywood, he asked the original Matrix question. Don't we believe with absolute correctness that dreams are real while we are in them? Only when we wake up do we realize the illusion. What if our entire waking life is just a dream, and death is the actual awakening? This was not just the pain of a philosopher trying to be deep. This was a systemic collapse. In July 1095, the greatest preacher of the age stood before his class and nothing. His tongue would not speak. Because of his own doubt, his tongue was physically paralyzed. He could not eat. He could not sleep. The minds of the doctors were confused. His stomach is failing, they said, but Ghazali knew the truth. His soul did not want the nourishment of empty words. Part 4, The Great Distancing, Scorching the Earth. What do you do when your life feels like an empty shell while you are the most famous scholar in the world? You distance yourself. Ghazali did the impossible. He distributed his wealth, left his family under the protection of the state, donned the coarse and patched clothing of a dervish, and distanced himself from Baghdad in the darkness of the night. He told everyone he was heading toward Mecca for pilgrimage, but his true target was the voice of his own heart. He went to Damascus. For 2 years, he lived in a state of total solitude in the minaret of the Umayyad Mosque. The scholar who once dined with sultans was now cleaning the floors and eating dry bread. This was his logistical reset state. He thought his fame was an obstacle on the path to truth. He killed Professor Ghazali so that human Ghazali could breathe. In the old corners of Damascus and Jerusalem, he began writing his famous masterpiece, Ihya Ulum al-Din, The Revival of the Religious Sciences. Part 5, Tahafut, A Bomb in Philosophy. When Ghazali finally re-emerged, he had not come to bargain. He came with a sword, so to speak. Tahafut al-Falasifa, The Incoherence of the Philosophers. Imagine a scorched earth. Ideology in a military sense. Ghazali did not target the philosophers because they were bad people. He declared war on them because they were bad at logic. He took their own weapon, Aristotelian logic, and hurled it against them. His most famous strike was on causality. He said that we see fire touch cotton and then see the cotton burn. Therefore, we assume the fire caused the burning. However, Ghazali brainstormed to prove that this was not a logical necessity. This was merely the result of repeated observation. This destroyed the vanity of 11th century rationalism. He proved that reason is a necessary tool for the physical world, but it is a broken GPS when trying to find one's way in eternity. Part 6, The Ihya Palace. Why is Ghazali's legacy still standing tall 900 years later? Because he didn't just tear things down, he built a palace. He created a synthesis that defined the Islamic world for 1,000 years. The balance dam, he drew a line between cold, dry legalism and unregulated mysticism. Integration of logic. He did not ban logic. He made Aristotelian logic a necessary tool for theology, ensuring that faith remained rigorously meticulous. Internalization of law. He taught that a prayer performed without thought or focus is merely a physical exercise. He transformed the rules of religion into the experiences and functions of the soul. He made the complex livable. He likened the geography of the soul to a map that an ordinary man could follow. Part 7, Ghazali and quantum uncertainty. Now, let's connect this to the year 2026. Ghazali's critique of causality shows a terrifying similarity with modern quantum mechanics. In the quantum realm, we deal not with absolute truths, but with probabilities. When Ghazali said, "Nature has no inherent necessity, only habits," he was stating the uncertainty that lies at the heart of modern physics. He was not against science, he was against self-superiority. He thought the universe was far more mysterious and alive than a simple mechanical clock. By cutting off the excessive use of authority by the philosophers, he instilled that sense of wonder, which fuels true scientific discovery into the hearts of people. Part 8, Final. The unconquerable mind. Let's summarize. In our opening analogy, why was America uninvadable? Because of its geography, of course. Why is Ghazali's thought indestructible? Because he likened and transformed his mind into a geography. His doubt was a vast sea that swallowed the arguments of his enemies. His 10-year withdrawal into himself was the impassable oceans where he fortified his soul. His logic was the soldiers protecting the borders of faith. Ghazali started as a superpower, became a nobody, and his life ended as everything. He showed us that the most dangerous pressure is not the one from the outside, but the attack that occurs when we allow vanity to assault our souls. Therefore, as the commander-in-chief of your own life, look at your own world. Which unreal fortresses are you defending? Which status are you bound to that leaves you speechless? Are you truly brave enough to put on the patched cloak and find your own silence? Let's discuss in the comments below. If you found benefit in this journey of our Hidden Sages of the East series, hit the subscribe button. Let's continue to discover the minds that built our world together. Stay curious, keep your feet on the ground, and remember, the greatest conquest is the one you win over your own ego. Thank you for watching us. You can support us by liking the video.